It's commonly understood that in order to be successful with a digital transformation, you need to treat it and run it as if it's a business initiative, not an IT initiative. But how exactly do we do that? That's what I want to talk about here today. My name is Eric Kimberling. I'm the CEO of Third Stage Consulting. Third Stage is an independent consulting firm that helps clients throughout the world with their digital transformation journeys. And when we're advising clients on how to navigate their digital transformation, oftentimes we're helping from the very beginning of the project. We're helping them establish the team. We're helping them establish the strategy, the program management, all the stuff that goes into getting ready for an implementation. And one of the common things we'll tell our clients is in order for this project to be successful, you need to treat it not as an IT project, but as a business project. However, that's not very helpful by itself if we just say that one comment. So a lot of times clients, of course, will ask, what does that mean? What does it mean to treat it like a business project rather than a technical project? So what I want to do today is talk about the difference between a business-centered and focused project versus an IT one, and give you some advice on how to treat your project more like a business initiative so that you can focus on the right things as part of your transformation and focus on the things that are going to deliver the most value to your organization. Before we dive too far into today's content, I want to share a little bit of information about Third Stage Consulting and who we are. Third Stage Consulting Group is an independent technology agnostic provider of consulting services to help clients through their digital transformations. We help with digital strategy and software selection, as well as implementation planning. And during implementation, we provide services related to program management, organizational change, business process improvement, as well as enterprise architecture. These are just some of the services we provide. We have offices in North America as well as Europe and Asia Pacific. So if you'd like to learn more, I encourage you to check out our resource center, which includes a number of resources that will help you through your digital transformation, and you can access that for free using the QR code here or the links below. You can also reach out to me directly if you'd like to discuss your digital transformation and brainstorm ideas on how to improve where you're headed on your journey. Now let's jump back into today's content. In order for a project to be business focused rather than IT focused, it all starts at the top. It starts with the leadership team, the executive team, and it starts with who ultimately is the executive sponsor. And just to back up for a second, every project should have at least one executive sponsor, sometimes two, but at least one. And that executive sponsor is the person on the executive team that's ultimately responsible for making sure that the project is successful and also making key decisions and strategic decisions that need to happen along the way. Now, oftentimes what happens is the project is managed by the CIO or the IT manager, IT director. Someone in the IT department ultimately ends up becoming the executive sponsor. And that's okay. That's not a terrible thing. But if it's just the IT person that's the executive sponsor, chances are pretty high that it's going to be perceived as an IT project within your organization. And in reality, it's also going to be treated as an IT project because the CIO or the IT director is the one running it. So it's a perception and reality sort of an issue that needs to be managed. So the key is to make sure that we have a business sponsor at the executive level, not just an IT one. Now, we work with a lot of organizations that will have two sponsors. It'll be the CIO along with, say, the CFO or the COO. And that's a perfectly fine model as well. You can have sort of a joint responsibility, and it creates a healthy sort of a tension or a healthy collaboration that ensures you do address the technical pieces of the project, but more importantly, you are also addressing the business aspects of the project. So the biggest single thing you could do, if I had to pick one thing, the most important thing you could do to ensure that this project ends up being a business transformation, not just a technical transformation, is to ensure that you have one of your business leaders in that executive sponsorship role. And once you've done that, it doesn't solve all of your problems, but it at least ensures that most of the behaviors and planning and strategies that come from the project are going to be influenced by that heavy focus from the business executive. Now, ensuring a business transformation versus an IT transformation doesn't stop at just putting a business sponsor or business executive in the executive sponsorship role. You also have to ensure that other people throughout the business are involved in the project as well. Let's start with the project team. When you assemble that core project team of people, that might be 3 or 5 or 7 people that are on the day-to-day aspects of the project, you want to make sure that a heavy representation and a majority of that representation is coming from the business. Generally, what we see is you'll have different mid-level manager type people that are on that core team. They represent different parts of the business, and you might have one person that's part of IT. You don't want to exclude IT, but a majority of that core team should be business people. And the reason for that is because they ultimately have to be the ones to decide how is it we're going to change our business? What are the things that are working or not working from a business perspective? And ultimately, how can we ensure that we improve our business processes and help manage people throughout the organization through the changes? And if you think about most organizations, IT is just one small subset of a larger subset of employees. And if you have an imbalanced representation from IT, it's going to focus more on the IT priorities rather than the business needs and the business priorities. So if we assume that this is a business transformation and we want this transformation to improve our business and we want people and humans through the organization to actually use the new technologies, then we need to ensure that the project team has a heavy concentration of business people. And then if we move beyond the project team and look at other subject matter experts and other people that might touch the project, maybe on a more peripheral level, you want those people to be heavily involved in the business as well. So you'll have key stakeholders, influencers, managers, frontline employees that might be involved in some of the validation of business requirements, or perhaps they're even involved in defining the business requirements early on. They might be involved in helping define new processes. They certainly would want to be involved in helping with user acceptance testing and ultimately with training. So you want that heavy user involvement throughout the entire project, beginning with the project team, the core project team, as well as some of the extended stakeholders and subject matter experts that are going to support the project team. If you'd like to learn more about how to structure your project team and what some of these different roles are and how to create that hierarchy of people that can support a project like this, I encourage you to check out this video right here where I dive into a whiteboard discussion of what that project team should look like. Now, the next way we can ensure that our project and our transformation is business-centered rather than just IT-centered is to focus on the business workflows and work streams within a project. Two in particular are business process improvement and organizational change management. If we invest heavily in these two functions and these two work streams, we are much more likely to end up with a true business transformation rather than just a technology initiative. So let's start with process improvement. We need to make sure that before we ever start deploying technology, we lead with business processes. We define what it is we want our processes to be at the end of this transformation. We define what the changes are going to be, and we define how we want to impact the organization through those business processes. And then we deploy technology that supports that. If we do it the other way around, which is what a lot of software vendors will suggest, they suggest that you start with the technology and let the technology dictate how you run your business. Then you've done it backwards and you're treating it as a technology initiative, and you end up with a technology first sort of mentality. So you definitely want to start with processes first, then follow it with technology. Now, in addition to the business process focus, we also have to look at the organizational change side of things, the behavioral side of things. How do we ensure that we are changing behavior, changing the culture, and changing people? Ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. The technology alone will not do it. If we put new technology in the hands of end users, they're not just magically going to change their behavior just because they might be able to or they could potentially use this new technology. We have to teach them how to use the technology. We have to teach them how to do certain business processes. And we also have to teach them how the new processes and the new system compares to the way they used to do things. And another big gaffe that project teams and software vendors will advocate oftentimes is they'll say, well, let's not worry about the current state. Let's just focus on the future state. We don't care about the current state because it's going to change. And that's a big mistake, because your organization, if it's 100 or 100,000 employees, you have all those different people that know and understand the way things are today. Not saying they need to stay doing things that way, but that's what they understand today. So you have to connect the dots between the way things are working today and the way things are going to work in the future. And that's another example of how you treat this as a business-centered implementation rather than just putting in new technology and hoping for the best. So change management is another dimension of ensuring that you have the focus on the business rather than just on the technology. One of my pet peeves in this industry is when we talk about implementing technology just for technology's sake. We implement a new system because our old one is broken, it's old, outdated, so we just have to implement a new system. Or a software vendor is telling us that they're going to stop supporting their software solution, so we have to implement something to replace that. Those two things may be real, but that can't be the only reason why you're going through the project. And if it is the only reason you're going through the project, you can rest assured you are going to end up with a technology-driven project that is solely focused on changing technology, not solely focused on transforming the business. So in order to change that mindset, we have to think more about measurable results. What is the ROI of this initiative? Where do we expect to see business benefits? How will specific technologies enable some of those business benefits and improvements? And all those sorts of things. So in other words, when we build a business case, we don't want to build a business case just to justify why we should invest in new technology. We want to build a business case to help us govern the project and give us decision-making criteria for, do we need that extra module? Do we need to invest more in technology? Are the processes designed the way we thought they should be? Are the processes enabling these benefits that we expected to see and that we outlined in our business case? So we want to have that business case not just as a way to justify technology investments, but the business case should be driving and enabling benefits and value realization and helping us drive towards real business value and real ROI. So by focusing on metrics and focusing on value creation and benefits realization, we are essentially shifting the focus from just implementing and investing in technology for technology's sake and focusing more on how are we going to change the business. So I hope you found this information useful. I hope it's given you some good guidance on how to think about a business transformation versus a technology initiative. If you'd like to learn more about some best practices related to digital transformations, I encourage you to read our 2024 Digital Transformation Report. It's an annual report that features a number of best practices, lessons learned from digital transformations, and it also includes a number of independent reviews and rankings as it relates to different technologies in the marketplace. So I hope you found this information useful and hope you have a great day. IT initiative, but how exactly we, in order for a project to, one person on the executives, so you don't want it to be too focused on just IT people. Sorry, Kelly was making a face at me in the background. And same with the organizational.